Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and today we are talking about Game Beauty. They are doing their spring sale through April 15th and I just want to share with you some of my favorite items from them in case you are interested in shopping up to 50% off this great indie brand. At the beginning of this video, I'm going to show you some of the products that I have from the brand, my favorites, and then at the end I'm going to show you this eye look that I made today with one of the products. If that sounds good to you, keep on watching. Before we get too far into the video, I hope you will consider subscribing. I upload videos twice a week. It is totally free to subscribe, and I would love to have you back again on the channel in the future to talk all things makeup. All right, so from this brand, I have 5 eyeshadow palettes, and one of these I just bought myself in the sale, the one I'm wearing today. That's why I wanted to do the look to test out my new purchase, and it was so fast, you guys. Like maybe 3 days it took to get here, so luckily it got here soon enough that I could film before the end of the sale, the 15th. Now they have brushes for sale, they have highlighters, they have eyeshadow palettes. Not their entire site is for sale. They do have some collabs with some bigger IPs that, you know, they have to keep those at a certain price point because of the agreements of who gets how much in the collab and all that, but all the products I'm showing you today are on sale. I have all of the products in their smaller palette series. I do not have any of the Elemental. I would love to have some of those, but they've got those, they've got the IPs, they've got these, they've got brushes, they've got lip products. I have only ever tried the palettes, so that's mostly what I'm talking about today. These smaller format palettes, they all have this amazing fantasy world artwork on them. This is the only one that is not any longer available, the Fantasy palette. So a reminder, if you've got this one, pull it out and give it some love because it is a lovely pastel, like coming out of winter going into spring color story. But the rest of these that I'm going to mention are all still available and for discount on this sale. So the brand's very first palette they ever came out with is the Adventure palette, this one right here. It is more of a green color story. There are some pops of other colors in here as well. This is the only palette in the entire series that does have one pressed glitter, but they had a lot of feedback after this first palette that people didn't want pressed glitter, so they did not do them anymore, but this one does have one so that you're aware. I love this like petri dish bacteria looking, the way they like swirl the pigments in the pan. That's pretty cool. It is intentional. It is not anything wrong with the product. And yeah, I just love that they started like this video game series with like leveling up, healing, dungeons, boss, treasure, just all the things I love about video games and have loved since growing up. Again, the amazing artwork that they've got here, and all of these have a mirror and a magnetic closure. I love that these are so slim and compact and really great for traveling. My most used palette, honestly, from the series is this one, the Victory palette. And I think this one is the most neutral. I've traveled with this the most times. That's probably why it's my most used. It is a warm, neutral palette with some pops of blue. This shade Glass Cannon is so sparkly and pretty. Glory is also a really nice shimmer in this one. And Loot, honestly, they're all lovely, but this one is just really, really nice. This is the one that I can see visual dents in pants. That's how I know I've used this one so much. And she's part of the sale. I don't know if they're going to continue this format of palettes because they haven't come out with any of them in, I think, over a year. They seem to have switched over to more of their elemental type stuff. I hope they do more of these because I really like the packaging and theming, but it does kind of seem like they're getting away from that. So I'm glad I got all of them while they were available. The next one is the Harbinger palette. This one I will say is probably my least used. I seem to get confused with this color story a lot. I've talked about it on my channel before, and I'll leave linked videos if I've used any of these as standalones. It's a little darker, a little smokier. And to me, this one, like I said, I get a little stuck sometimes on the color story. I feel like as a companion palette, I do well with this. But yeah, it's just like a little, I don't know what to do with it by itself, but that's what it looks like. And I am sometimes like a collectionist with my palettes where it was just like, I need to complete the series. So I've got that one. And then the latest release is the one that I'm wearing on my eyes today. We will do a look with it just in a minute here. But this is the Cyberpunk palette. I waited for it to go on sale specifically to get it. And now it is on sale as part of the spring sale. Here it is. I think $29 is what I got this one for. And all of these for the sale, by the way, you can stack an affiliate code on top of it. I personally don't have one, but use someone's to save yourself money. You know, I believe I used Batty Bean for mine personally, but that helps with, you know, shipping or whatever to not pay as much on top of the sale. So those are all 5 palettes I have. Like I said, there are other items on sale as well from the site you can check out, but those are just the items I personally own and recommend. And yeah, my favorites, if I was like to tell you to get any of them, if you were like, well, I can only get one, which one would you recommend? I would say the Victory palette I've gotten the most use out of, but my favorite with color story and everything beyond that is their first one, the Adventure palette. So yeah, I think that's it for showing you all the palettes. Let's go ahead and get into creating this eye look from the Cyberpunk palette. All right, so here is the palette I'm using today that I have not used from the series before, the Cyberpunk. And here is, of course, the lovely, gorgeous artwork that you'll get. I love that when you open it on the back, it's one continuous piece of artwork. Love that about this format. Also love that they're magnetic. And here is the color story for this one. So I'm going to stay on this part of the palette today, just matching. I'm wearing like a pink and gray sweater. So I'm going to start with Replicant. Right here I do have, oh no I do not. I need to have, let's start there, eyeshadow primer. I use eyeshadow primer with every single look I do ever, so it's nothing about this brand. It's just because of especially my hooded eyes. If I don't use eyeshadow primer, I will get creasing, and I don't want creasing, so let me pat this in really quickly. And then I'm going to go in with that lightest shade in the crease. I do feel like that helps kind of set the primer. I know some people don't really like a flesh tone color. This is like a really, really light pink, this Replicant shade. And I'm going in with the Laura Lee Los Angeles L26 if you're curious. And I'm just going to pat that into the crease specifically, right along where I would crease for my eyeshadow if I weren't wearing the eyeshadow primer. See, and if you wanted like a no makeup look, I feel like this would be, this with eyeshadow primer would be, at least if you're my skin tone, like the perfect shade where if you put the eyeshadow primer and then just this shade all over the lid, it would not really look like you were wearing too much eyeshadow, but it would cover the veins because I have so many veins that are so visible in my eyelids. Okay, next up I'm going to take a Morphe M456 and I'm going to go in with Necromancy, this shade. Oh, it's not Necromancy. I was just thinking, I was like, isn't Necromancy a little bit dark for a palette like this, like concept-wise? It's Neuromancy. Neuro, like brain. You know, like a cyborg. Duh. That was my poor reading skills. Neuromancy. And I'm just using this to put a little depth on the outer portion of the eye. Gonna build that up and blend it out before I go in with some glitter primer. I will say with Game Beauty shimmers, I do feel like they perform best with a glitter primer. They're fine on their own, but they're not quite as sparkly, I guess I want to say. Like, I feel like it helps the sparkles pop and the opacity of the shimmer to use a glitter primer. So if you want something more subdued, then you would probably like them on their own. But if you're like me and you want them to have a little more oomph, then just do a glitter primer. I usually apply mine with my favorite flat brush that I use in almost every look. Mine's from Cleona, but you can use any flat brush you want. I just got some new brushes from Refer on their, they're doing 40% off their shop, their concept shop. They might still be doing that sale actually as I'm posting this. I got my stuff already, but it came so fast. I haven't used those yet. They're downstairs. I need to test those, see how I feel about them. But I picked up some other flat brushes because I use this one so much that I'm like, I need to wash it more often. I really do, but then I feel like I don't have anything else to use. So I got a couple other flat brushes from Refer to try. Just put on some Ulta Beauty glitter primer. You can use whatever glitter primer you want or none, but that's what I'm doing. And then I think I'm going to use two shimmers. I'm going to use Sistopia, this darker kind of like gray purple, and then 3022 on top of it. I'm going to start with Sistopia with the same brush I just did and put that more like gray smoky purple shimmer towards the outer corner. And just blend it up toward the crease. I'm putting like the bulk of the pigment down low towards my lash line, and then I'm just spreading it up so that it can gradually fade into the lash line and have like a nice seamless blend into the crease. That's pretty. Okay, and then 3022, which is like a purpley pink duochrome looking shade. That's pretty as well. I like those two paired together a lot. Let me know in the comments if you're a gamer. Who are my gamer people? And that could be video games, that could be D&D, that could be tabletop games, any kind of games. Do you like them, or is that just not your cup of tea? Be curious how many people watching are into that stuff. I love that stuff, which is why I really like this brand, which I feel like this brand does more like video gaming, and their recent IP collabs have been like video game slash, like they did Attack on Titan, which is more like anime, whereas there are other brands that are like game brands such as Fantasy Cosmetica that it's more like the D&D style of gaming. So I will say the only thing I feel like is missing from this look is like a really deep matte. So I think I'm going to pull into a black shadow just to do liner. And I'm going to take this Laura Lee Los Angeles L28 and just take a little of Outcast, this like lighter purple. I'm going to run that against the lower lash line here. I guess maybe you could do like Mod as an inner corner. Maybe we'll do that as an inner corner highlight shade here. And I'll go in with, this is a Luxe 245 small shader, but I'm just going to use it to put a little on the tip of my brush. This doesn't have too much sparkle in it, but it's also not just like purely a matte. Like it's one of those maybe mattes with sparkles. But it's light enough. I think it'll work to tie into this look as an inner corner shade. Especially since that duochrome, that was like purpley pink. It's looking a little like there's some blue reflect in it too. So I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, snag something else for that black shadow liner, put on mascara, and I'll be back to show you the final look. And here is the final look. I really like this. I think it's the perfect way to wear like color that's like a muted everyday color. It's just like a fun little pop, but nothing that's like too bright or bold. For those of you who might normally want something a little more neutral, but you want color, but not like bam in your face color, I feel like this entire series of palettes is great. So yeah guys, that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments, have you ever tried Game Beauty? Do you see anything that looks interesting? And of course, let me know about all of your games that you play. What type of games do you play, if any? I would love to know. And I hope to see you again in the next one. Bye!